Iranian missiles rained down on a U.S. air base. They sliced through Patriot missile defenses with terrifying precision. Within minutes, the damage is catastrophic. Entire fleets of fighter jets, including advanced F-35s, lie in flames. The U.S. has lost $500 million in equipment in less than half an hour. This isn't science fiction. It's a real scenario that could erupt at any moment. For the past 2 months, the United States has been steadily reinforcing its military presence in the Middle East. 6 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers have been deployed to Diego Garcia, an isolated U.S. base in the Indian Ocean. Each of these aircraft carries a pair of GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, bunker-busting bombs designed to penetrate deep into Iran's underground nuclear facilities, slipping past radar systems undetected. In addition to the B-2s, dozens of U.S. fighter jets have been stationed nearby, including F-35s, F-15s, F-16s, and A-10s. This isn't a drill, it's a sign that a massive airstrike on Iran could be imminent. The goal would be to cripple Iran's nuclear infrastructure before it can become a real threat. But Iran will not sit by and allow this to happen without a fight. Tensions between Iran and the United States have been simmering for years. When the current U.S. administration came into power, one of its first acts was to ramp up the maximum pressure campaign to stop Iran's nuclear ambitions. While the U.S. has called for a new deal, Iran has refused to negotiate directly. Their argument is simple. They once agreed to a deal, fulfilled their commitments, and were betrayed when the U.S. unilaterally withdrew. Since then, Iran has demanded that any new negotiations be mediated by neutral countries such as Qatar or the UAE, essentially to guarantee that the U.S. won't back out again. But Washington views this demand as an insult and has refused to compromise. The result has been increased tensions, more military buildup, and no progress toward peace. In the region, U.S. allies have begun to distance themselves. All American partners, except for Israel, have closed their airspace to U.S. military aircraft. This means that any American strike aircraft will have to fly along predictable and dangerous routes, exposing them to Iranian missile defenses. Even the stealthy B-2 bombers won't be completely safe. As this pressure mounts, Iran begins preparing for a preemptive strike. Inside Iran, the domestic situation is growing more unstable. Protesters take to the streets against the regime's religious restrictions, including mandatory headscarves. Clashes with the morality police have escalated. Social unrest is spreading, and Iran's hardliners feel the need to reassert dominance. After 2 failed attempts to strike Israel, first with over 200 missiles in October 2024, and again with hundreds of drones in April, Iran's credibility has suffered. Its regional influence has weakened. To show strength and deter U.S. aggression, Iran's supreme leader authorizes a limited but bold strike on American forces. At 2:45 a.m. on May 12, 2025, Iranian mobile missile launchers in Fars province and underground silos in Khuzestan received their orders. Advanced GPS spoofing systems protect the launchers from detection, preventing a U.S. preemptive strike. The primary target is Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest American military hub in the region and home to the headquarters of U.S. Central Command. The plan? Disable the base's runways, radar systems, hangars, fuel depots, and command centers. The missiles aim to ground U.S. air power before it can retaliate. Iran launches a massive barrage, 20 Zolfaghar missiles, 20 Desfuls, 10 Sejio hypersonic missiles, 15 Fateh Mobin precision-guided missiles, and 20 Shahed 136 suicide drones. The attack is timed and coordinated. As the missiles take off from land, drones and cruise missiles launch from disguised cargo vessels in the Gulf, some hidden in containers, to approach from the sea and catch defenses off guard. In response, U.S. forces activate layered defenses, Patriot and THAAD batteries, CRAM systems, and Aegis warships stationed offshore. But the sheer number of incoming projectiles overwhelms the system. Fateh Mobin missiles arrive first, flying at supersonic speeds. The Patriots intercept 9 out of 15. The CRAM downs 3 more, but 3 break through. One smashes into the base's control tower, another hits the Patriot radar array, and a third disables a key satellite uplink. Next, the Sejio missiles arrive. These are Iran's fastest and most advanced. Though 8 are intercepted, 2 make it through. One destroys a hardened hangar with an F-22 inside. The other ignites a fuel depot, causing a massive explosion. Meanwhile, suicide drones swarm the airbase and the warships. The Aegis destroyers manage to shoot down most of them, but 2 drones slam into a command post, disrupting coordination for several minutes. On the ground, U.S. aircraft crews scramble to launch jets before the airfield becomes unusable. More ballistic missiles rain down. 2 strike the aircraft parking area, destroying several F-35s and A-10s. Another hits a maintenance hangar. Debris from intercepted missiles showers the base, injuring dozens of personnel. When the barrage finally ends, after less than 30 minutes, the damage is staggering. More than $500 million worth of aircraft are destroyed or disabled. Several key infrastructure points are knocked out. 1 American pilot is confirmed dead, along with multiple wounded ground crew. Outside the base, a civilian is killed and several more are injured, sparking outrage in Qatar. This is just a single strike, but it exposes a real and growing vulnerability. Iran's military strategy leans heavily on asymmetric warfare. With no hope of matching the U.S. in open battle, Iran has developed missile and drone capabilities designed to overwhelm air defenses and exploit weak points. Many of these weapons are launched from hidden or mobile platforms, making them hard to detect before it's too late. The U.S. can strike back, but options are limited. With regional airspace closed off, American warplanes must fly along exposed corridors. Iran's missile defenses, though not as advanced as Western systems, are dense and strategically placed. Iran has built up layers of SAMs, radar installations, and mobile batteries to deny airspace access. A ground invasion is out of the question. Iran has over 600,000 military personnel, and the U.S. public has no appetite for another large-scale war in the Middle East. Iran's strategy has always been to strike first and deny the U.S. the ability to stage a large attack force on its borders. Airstrikes alone won't topple the regime, but there is one potential weak point: Iran's domestic unrest. The U.S. would likely focus future strikes on infrastructure, power plants, fuel stations, industrial centers, to trigger public pressure on the government. Iran is already struggling with severe energy shortages, a 20% electricity deficit, a 25% natural gas shortfall, and widespread gasoline scarcity. State subsidies consume a quarter of the national budget, leaving no room for improvement. The result is an economy on the brink, soaring food prices, housing collapses, and growing discontent. A carefully planned campaign that avoids mass casualties could push the population toward revolt. That's the gamble, but Iran knows this, and it's why it pours so much of its strained budget into defensive systems. The question remains, would a war between the U.S. and Iran be containable, or would it spiral into a wider regional or even global conflict? Could it destabilize the entire Middle East, or perhaps even drag in major powers? In the end, what unfolds in the skies above the Persian Gulf may not just shape the future of Iran or the United States. It could redraw the map of the Middle East and ignite a chain reaction across the globe. The stakes have never been higher. Missiles may silence radars and drones may darken the skies, but the true battle will be fought in strategy rooms, on digital front lines, and in the hearts of millions. Will diplomacy win the race against destruction? Or are we witnessing the first sparks of a war the world is not ready for? The clock is ticking, and history is watching. If you found this scenario compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth military analysis and real-world conflict simulations. Your voice matters. Let us know in the comments. How should the U.S. respond? And what future do you see for Iran in the region?